March 9th.
Okay, we'll call to order the South Washington County Telecommunications Commission Thursday, May 23rd, 2024 full commission meeting at City of Cottage Grove Council Chambers. Executive Director, can I get a roll call?
Lonnie's going to do that
I'll
tonight.
manage roll call, Chair.
Lonnie.
Commissioner Polta.
Here.
Commissioner Welchek.
Here.
Commissioner Ingman.
Here.
Commissioner Thiede.
Here.
Commissioner James.
Here.
Commissioner Olson.
Here.
Chair Bloom.
Here.
And Vice Chair Date.
Here.
And then let it known that Mike Bradley, the attorney's here, and Swarskus, interim executive director, and Lonnie Garland also present, along with Bob McSherry and a representative from Mango Day. We do have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Move on to public comment. Anyone? Public comment's closed. Looking for an approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion? Move on to the consent agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion? Move on to reports. Ann?
Good evening, Commission. I will keep this short because we have a lot on our agenda today. I just wanted to point out that we will be at Strawberry Fest on June 20th and the Juneteenth event at Ojibwe Park on June 23rd in Woodbury. We won 3 awards recently. Producer Nikki Johnson won a first place Alliance for Community Media Award for a series of video about women in Woodbury Public Works. That was great. And we just learned we won 2 Telly Awards, one for a video that Bob McSherry worked on called Watering Day. It was a PSA for Cottage Grove. And Teddy's Heart, which was a video I worked on for Cottage Grove. So that's always great. Last week, I was at the Wisconsin Community Media Annual Conference. I presented about our collaboration with the City of Woodbury. Senior Communications Specialist Jason Egerstrom joined me. And we thought it was going to be a 20-minute presentation. It turned out to be an hour. But it turned out pretty good, actually. We had lots of great interaction and conversation, so we probably could have gone an hour and a half. Let's see. We'll actually both be, Lonnie and I will be at the joint council meeting next week with the City of Cottage Grove and Woodbury presenting our annual report. And we will both be at Natoa in the end of August. I've been asked to present about the Lego animation video we did for the City of Cottage Grove. So that is Woodbury. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Woodbury. You are correct, for the City of Woodbury budget video. Yes. And Lonnie's got a couple things to add, too.
A couple things. We will be covering the Cottage Grove Memorial Day event. So we've tested some equipment. Knock on wood, everything works well. So far, so good. We did finally get the school district's channel back up and live on channel 15. So they are supplying a few programs, and we're trying to program that as we go. So now when you turn on channel 15, it's just not a black hole. There's actually information there. And so hopefully, actually they're having a school board meeting as we're having our meeting, and that should be live on the channel tonight as well. So, part of the things we've been discussing is how to get more involved with the community and working with the school. This is a good step in that direction. So I'm really pleased that we've got it up and working. It took a little bit, but working with the school district was good, and it's been great so far. A couple other things. We did finish the update to the AV at, M Health Fairview Sports Center. That audio is completed, and they love it. All good things I've heard so far. And then we also did some updates to Public Works, and we did a little upgrade to
Eagle Valley.
Eagle Valley. Eagle Valley Golf Course got a new, they remodeled, so we took the equipment out and put the equipment back in and did a few tweaks here and there, and that's working. And Public Safety in Woodbury, their roll call room got updated, and we did some programming in their training room for mic control. So, yeah, lots of things happening. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Move on to legal reports. Mr. Bradley.
Good evening, Chair and members. In your packet is one of the best legal reports we have ever prepared.
and I'm sure you all noticed that when you went through it in excruciating detail preparing for this meeting. In all seriousness, I did, in this legal report, put in a lot of links to documents. So if you have the electronic version of the legal report, that'll be most helpful to you. I'll just highlight just a couple of things if I could. One is the Equal Access to Broadband Act. I just want to thank all of you who were actively supporting that legislation at the Capitol. It got all the way to the House floor before being cut. I have a number of links to articles and news stories on that legislation, so I encourage you to read that. Secondly, just at the end of April, the Department of Justice released new rules for the Americans with Disabilities Act, and this is going to be very important for not just this commission, but for your member cities to all follow these new rules. And again, in the legal report, I have links to the order itself, a fact sheet, and also the actual standards that we have to meet. So it's going to be really important to be looking at that. As the commission, we're going to need to be looking to our vendors to make sure that our equipment is compliant with these new standards. Some of these standards, I'm not sure the equipment has even gotten there yet. As a commission, we have 3 years to comply with these new rules from the Department of Justice. And lastly, the FCC reclassified broadband from an information service to a telecommunications service. As you look at that order, and again, I have links to the order in here as well. The FCC was very clear in saying that it was not completely preempting state and local government authority over broadband. So it'll be very important for us to continue to examine that order and to explore what local, state and local government authority remains in that area, which is important since we were supporting a broadband franchising bill at the legislature this last session. Lastly, I also spoke at the Wisconsin Community Media annual conference in Eau Claire, Wisconsin this year. I presented the legal report. I'll be presenting at the Alliance for Community Media the Alliance for Community Media annual conference in San Jose, California, here in June. I'll be presenting another legal report. And then in July, I'll be presenting at a continuing legal education for municipal attorneys in an organization called IMLA. I'll be speaking on franchising and franchising authority and the relevance of franchising today for local governments. And then lastly, I'll be presenting at the NATOA annual conference as well, which is in South Carolina this year. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but as I mentioned, this unbelievable legal report is in your packet.
Great, thanks. Any questions? Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, you bet.
Move on to unfinished business, rebranding update. Bob?
So, thank you, Commissioners. As you know, you gave us the go-ahead to go forward with trying to change our 19-syllable name into something more simple. So this is where I'm going to take you up to kind of where we've been going this year. And then representatives from Mango Day are here to kind of help go with the rest and where we're going forward from June to the end. So first thing is first is that we kicked off in February. We did a team meeting with our entire staff, and Mango Day was there, and we kind of kicked off the event, and then they explained what we were going to be doing and all that kind of stuff and how it all works. So then they spent most of March just gathering data on SWCTC, what we do, what we are about, and stuff like that. They looked at all our analytics and stuff like that. So they did an in-depth audit, basically, of who we are. And then that led to, in April, was a big community engagement portion. So we participated. They came out to the Woodbury Community Expo. We had a table there. and they surveyed over 120 people, and just basically find out what the community knows about us. And, you know, and they got a lot of great data, and we got the data, and I think they shared it with Sue. One of the big things, I think half of the people surveyed did not know who we are. So and that's why we're doing this, and that's one of our big efforts, is to get people to know who we are. Then later, they went to the Cottage Grove Community Showcase and surveyed another 100 people. And then we were able to post that survey online, and then we emailed it to some people that, you know, I think we emailed it to you, the commission, and we emailed it to other people. And we got additional feedback on that. I don't know how many people responded by email or whatnot. So that brings us to May, and this is where the creative process begins. So we're going to start looking at new names and kind of like feed the waters. And we're going to talk about a little bit today. They're going to present on these are raw concepts. We don't have to choose any of these names. We can take these names and we can smash them together. That's where it's at. So I don't want to get hung up on one name, or I don't want to debate this name over that name. We're going to be getting feedback for the next month or so on what these names, and we're trying to figure out concepts and what concepts we need to go to. They're going to present like 3 different concepts with some name examples, and that's kind of where we're going to go from there. So I want to introduce Mango Day founder and CEO Ashley Kudu and their lead designer Taylin DeJeanette, and they will take you the rest of the way. I'm going to go bring up their little presentation. I'm going to go over here. You guys come right here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And then
How does this work as well?
just talk, and we got the presentation here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And,
And then you're
oh,
just
yes.
gonna slide through.
Hold on a second. Let me. I messed up
Sure.
because I started at the end. I need to put you at the beginning, and things will make more sense.
Make more sense.
There we go.
Awesome. Sweet.
So you just guys talk, and I'll just kind of advance you through.
Okay. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Sweet. All right. Well, hello, everyone. It is so great to meet you guys. We've heard a lot about you from the SWCTC team. We're so happy to present to you guys a couple of naming concepts and a couple of visual directions as well. But since we don't really know each other, I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to pass it off to Ashley to introduce herself. My name's Taylin DeJeanette. I'm a brand designer, I'm a visual artist, I'm an illustrator. I also do some consulting and partnering with Forecast Public Art. But I'm so excited to be here today. I'm going to pass it off to Ashley to introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name is Ashley Kudu and I am the founder and CEO of Mango Day, and I'm also really excited to be here.
And just for some background, Taylin, when we did the Community Voices grant, Taylin was the person that came up with the design and the logos for that stuff. So we had already worked with Taylin in a little way. So.
Yes, so I'm back again. I'm so excited. All right, I'm not sure how to, oh, sweet, okay. So first, a little bit about timeline check-in. We think it's very important for you guys to know that what we've been doing, I think Bob gave us a good overview of how the process started with SWCTC at the beginning of the year. So in February, we had our kickoff. We got to know the SWCTC team. We did some research into their pains and gains as a company. And then in March, we had a very clear idea of SWCTC's goals and some of the questions that we needed answered from their audiences. So we began strategizing on a couple of community engagement events, a couple of touch points, and we've currently completed 2 touch points, as Bob kind of went over. We surveyed and got feedback from over 230 members. And then we're looking at a 3rd touch point, hopefully by the end of this May or the beginning of June. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We say all this to say that we want to make sure that the entire process is community informed and done the correct way. So that's a little bit about where we started and where we're at and how we ended up to the naming process right now. You can go to the next slide. Perfect. So I'm going to pass it off to Ashley just to talk about a little bit of important notes pertaining to our presentation today.
And I'm just going to keep it brief because Bob already touched on it. So what you're seeing today is going to be high-level examples that communicate the different directions that we're going to showcase. So once we get feedback and more approval on a final concept, we will get into more the nitty-gritty of it all. So we're focusing mainly on the names, and once we get an understanding of like the concept and names, we'll focus on things like taglines and other things that we want to explore. So all the concepts should be, executed subtly. So the intention is basically not to overwhelm you guys with all the different options and all the different stuff. So let's ease into it.
Absolutely. Sweet. Thank you so much, Ashley. And if you could go to the next slide, Bob. So we're going to get into a little bit of general creative direction of what you guys are going to see today. You can go to the next slide. It's super important to know that each of these concepts have very general tones and very general visual directions. And that way, it's created that way so that we can ebb and flow and they can kind of move into each other and change as we need be, but still fit kind of into SWCTC's general values. So part of that first strategizing that our team did was discovering your guys' values, because we realized that there weren't necessarily any on the website. If you guys are interested in what they are, we discovered that your guys' values are quality, community, creativity, authenticity, and service. And so as we present these concepts to you guys today and get additional feedback, as Ashley said, it helps us solidify those kind of brand concepts that we'll be moving into and those taglines that we'll present a little bit later on to you guys. But everything that you guys are seeing today is super high level. And so everything can absolutely be changed. It can be ebbed and flowed. Things can fit into each other as we need to. Some things can be Frankenstein. It's completely up to you guys. As it pertains first to the tone of voice, each concept has a humanity-based and conversational tone to them. So the intent of this tone is to kind of create a connection to the communities that SWCTC serves and its prospective clients. We also created this to align to current marketing trends and serve what your audiences were looking for in that community, engagement feedback that we got essentially a couple months ago. As it pertains to the visual direction that we'll present, each concept has color palettes, photographic direction, and graphic elements that all represent this sort of organic interaction, warmth, community, and creativity. And the elements on each of our boards are really meant to invite SWCTC audiences in different ways. So we hope that you guys enjoy them. You can go to the next slide.
Oh, keep going.
All right, so this very first concept explores natural connection. This concept is all about how SWCTC naturally connects to its community and the nature of its cities around it. So this concept was created to be flexible, it's for allowed for longevity. And when you think about it, nature is super grounding, it's welcoming, and it's forever changing, as is the SWCTC team. And so we really wanted this direction to speak to the natural connections that we have not only with the people around us, but the places that we inhabit. We have connections to our jobs. We have connections to the park that we go to, after work. We have connections to the bar. We have connections to our people all around us. And so that's essentially what this first direction is rooted in. You can go to the next slide. Awesome. And so as we're thinking about a visual approach to this direction, we wanted to celebrate the basis of connection and human experience. We want to use vibrant, wholesome photography and organic images, as you guys can see, and symbols that bring out tranquility to our eyes and to our spirits, right? And so as we look to brand extensions like the pattern work that you can see a little bit at the bottom and some of the symbol work as well, we want something that reminds our audiences of familiarity, so that can be a pattern that you saw in your grandmother's house. That can be a pattern that you saw at the ice cream shop, but we want to keep it local. We want to keep it warmth. We want to remind people of comfort. And so overall, it's important to mention that this direction, we want it to be super clean, clear, and concise, and we want it to invoke a sense of optimism. Hence why we used a lot of oranges and greens. We didn't want to move too far away from that SWCTC green. So this is how we kind of imagine that first concept visually looking. I'm going to pass it off to Ashley to talk a little bit more about how we paired naming concepts with these visuals.
All right, let's get into the names. So for our first name, we have Common Ground. So when we think about Common Ground, we're instantly understood. The name, it refers to places shared in the community and the idea that being unique is everyone's commonality. We're celebrating different perspectives, different experiences, different spaces as community creates common ground. Second, we have Bloom Media. So bloom, a single word with big impact. It has a positive connotation. When you think of bloom, it suggests creativity, new beginnings, growth, expansions, unfolding layers, and fresh energy. So you're thinking for something to bloom, many aspects need to work together. A perfect metaphor for the work of the SWCTC brand. And finally, for this concept, we have evergreen. Communities depend on nature to bring them peace of mind and stability. The very name evergreen promises something similar. So a brand that will always deliver quality service to its community by forging natural connections.
So sweet. Go to the
Evergreen's also lasting.
That's a good point. All right, so our second concept celebrates the spirit of exploration and discovery. You can go to the next slide. This direction is all about SWCTC inspiring the community to tell their stories in new and authentic ways. So with this direction, we really wanted to foster a culture of innovation and curiosity that propels SWCTC as a company and invites their audiences into new possibilities and new futures, right? This direction is all about giving our community members a spotlight and letting the audience into people's backgrounds, people's lives, and people's authentic experiences. You can go to the next slide. So as it pertains to our visual approach with this, we really aim for something that is graphic and bold. We talked to the SWCTC team about what really invokes their eyes, what would they really, really love to see. And so this approach, again, is graphic, yet whimsical. We really wanted to have something that followed effective trends, but also promotes versatility and longevity. So this direction really promotes fun, it really promotes joy, it really promotes exploration without boundaries. With this direction, our team really considered maintaining your guys' brand colors with a little bit of a twist on it. This way that your guys' audience can, still maintain the familiarity that they have with you guys, but still invite in something that's new and something that's exciting, right? So as it pertains to the photographic style and the visual symbols, we really wanted something that was unexpected to be paired with brand extensions that are super playful, spark curiosity, and promote discovery, energy, and authenticity at any age and any stage of their life. I'm going to pass it off to Ashley to go through some of the naming concepts for this one.
All right. I'm just here to smooth, calm, and get you into it. So, a fan favorite, we have first Limelight. So the name speaks on to promote community discoveries and helping clients find new ways to entertain their local audience. So Limelight also refers to illuminating communities and clients by showcasing what exactly makes them unique through that authentic storytelling. And our second fan favorite, we have Wonderhood. Wonderhood is a light play on words, makes for a creative, memorable name. It's a creative spin on neighborhood and the word wonder, and it adds that joy and discovery. It's a bit nostalgic and childlike and instantly evoking positive feelings around curiosity. And finally, for this concept, we have crosswalk. So what can be discovered at a crosswalk? We're thinking maybe it could be a local bar, it could be a park, it could be your library. Thinking about that connection and discovery, how it combines into a perfect summary of SWCTC's mission.
Awesome. And now we're going to go into our third and final direction, which explores the concept of home. So on this direction, we really focus on how the unique perspectives and experiences of SWCTC's audiences converge to make this community feel like a home. This direction is meant to be a little bit more open-ended, as everyone in our community has different meanings of home. And because everyone has different meanings, we really want to lean into our differences in backgrounds and create something that's a little bit more multicultural, a little bit more universal, as it pertains to the concepts and the visual approaches. So when we're thinking about creating a visual direction that pays homage to home, we really did a lot of color research on what shades evoke a sense of comfort and belonging. And we kept thinking about the comfort channels that we turn on in the background when we're doing something like the Food Network or the Nature Channel. We really, really wanted this direction to kind of evoke that. We want people to create a really strong emotional attachment to SWCTC. Our aim here is to really invoke a sense of comfort and warmth. So each carefully chosen graphic and visual asset here is really meant to emphasize genuine connections and experiences and redefine what we think of home. Our palette serves as kind of a soft visual representation of all the unique perspectives and communities that come together to create that. Our turquoise symbolizes tranquility, and harmony, and while the pinks evoke a sense of affection and the creams just add that sort of touch of softness. But together we kind of want this this direction to represent a rich tapestry of communities and cultural backgrounds that make up SWCTC's communities. And now I'm going to pass it off to Ashley for the final name directions for this one.
All right, here we go. And the first one to tie into our concept is Home Hub. So Home Hub offers a sense of coziness with that pairing of convenience. Because the brand values service and community, the word hub refers to that one-stop shop location. In this case, an easy way for people to find all of those community resources that they're looking for, in terms of like, news and entertainment right in one place. Second, we have homespun media. So this aligns with the brand's values by reflecting on the creativity that's intertwined with the authentic storytelling, but also it's suggesting how the brand is woven into the community's home network. And then finally, a little bit something there. We have a lemonade stand. So the words are meant to create that warm neighborhood visual spanning all ages and all types of demographics. It's lighthearted, it's classic, memorable, almost like, your Peanuts cartoon. Y'all still remember that, right? Positioning SWCTC as a standout against competitors. So that is it for our naming and creative direction. Thank you, guys. Off to next steps.
You can go ahead. Sorry. Do you want to read that off? Did you want me to?
We can.
Are you guys interested in hearing our next steps? Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
I was just curious whether you actually took some of those names and did any like internet analysis. So if people are going to be looking things up, what are they going to find when they put some of those names in?
Yeah, so each of these are ran through legal for us, just to make sure that the names are first available. We don't want to present anything to you guys that's not available. And so all of them are legally open on the line. Lemonade stand, of course, that's something that's very general, that might come up on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody might be selling a lemonade stand. And so I think that's the only one that might be a little hit or miss, but all the other ones are.
So do you, in terms of a full name, do you intend to have media group or media or something after those names?
That's completely up to you guys. That's completely up to you guys.
It's something definitely we've talked about, and it's just a matter of what goes with what. Do we do Limelight Media? Do we do Homespun Media? That's something that or do you want to just stand alone? I don't know. There's, like I said, these are concepts and you're just rolling it around in your head. And I know when you hear because I went through this yesterday, when you hear the names, your minds are just like exploding right now.
Yeah.
You're going in many different directions and you're like, well, what about this? And what about that? So yes, it's definitely a process and it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
It's also important to know that you guys can Frankenstein these if you want to. We tell our clients all that. If you like Bloom and Lemonade, so be it. We can definitely do that.
I think
And
this
so,
round is really just that like temperature, flavor check. What are we tasting? What are we feeling on the palate? Getting a feel for that and seeing what is, responding positively.
Absolutely.
I would say before you go into the next steps, because it feels like next step one is for us to give feedback,
Yes.
that we
Yeah.
give our feedback, and then you talk about this, because I think we're all really excited to talk about it.
Yes.
At least I am.
Absolutely. And that also doesn't have to be today if you guys want to ruminate on things.
Right, do you
guys
want
wanna
8
do that.
feedbacks that are all gonna be different tonight, or?
I think ideally is we could do feedback today, but ideally I would love to hear from all of you individually. That would be great.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Could you do me a favor, though, and remind me what approach 1 and approach 2 were called? Because I didn't write those down.
Yeah, so approach 1 was natural connection. Approach 2 was
Discover.
discover.
Okay.
Yes.
I know you want to hear from everyone, but I do want to make some general comments.
Yes.
First of all, I think this is phenomenal. I think you guys are spot on with what we had hoped to accomplish from this effort, which was that we didn't necessarily want to come up with like more letters or something like that. We wanted something new and fresh and different, and I felt very thorough, the foundation that you brought us through before describing them, so I just want to commend you on that. The other thing that I really like is that all of these are easily pronounceable. So like one thing I think is struggle with a brand is if it can be pronounced one or two different ways and it's not clear, you're always explaining to people how it's pronounced. So I like that. If you don't want me to give my opinion on the concepts, I'll hold that for later.
But we
What's,
we were gonna go Swick-Tick, but we decided, if you pronounce SWCTC, it's.
oh,
Okay, okay, hey.
We'll pass.
and see how I didn't catch on to that?
didn't, yeah.
So that-
Like,
Okay. I'm assuming, can we get a copy of these slides afterwards and
Yes.
everything too? So, great.
So then, should we set our feedback to Bob then? You know,
Yeah, you can send it to me and I could forward it on to them. I've been
Right.
talking with them and we meet, every other week, for sure. Like I said, if you have any instant feedback right now, we're totally fine with having this.
I'd love to give instant feedback now because I'm not going to email you later. It's just not.
I'll email you.
It's so again, I like them all. Because I like them all, I will say that I like 1 and 2 much more than 3. I like the idea of the community connection because we are a multi-community jurisdiction, so that resonates better to me than home, which feels like more inward and personal. I like the green because I think that has overlaps with at least Woodbury and Cottage Grove brand, and I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the other cities' brands as much, but I think there's some overlap there. And then especially Evergreen has overlap with both of our cities, having trees to some extent in our publication materials as well. So again, I'm not talking about the other cities, and so I don't want to be inclusive, but that's kind of what I liked about it. But for all of the general feedback, I like that they're, I like common ground. I think that's really cool. And yeah, home didn't resonate as well with me.
So you're saying the 2 concepts you really dug were
natural and discovery.
natural.
Yeah, and I think well, this will surprise no one that the natural connection on like nature resonated more with me, so I might be bringing my own bias into that one. But then the green and the other one, I liked the coloring there. What was I gonna add on? Oh, and then specifically, I think maybe with approach 1, you had talked about keeping it local with images. And I think whatever we move forward with, whatever images we're using, it would be amazing to have those be things captured from all of our cities and all of our material, which is maybe already something you're planning to do.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Have any immediate feedback?
Just me, I think the name should somehow signify what we do. I mean, when I look at a name, whether you're selling cars or whatever, somewhere along that, you can have whatever you want, but you're a car dealer. If you're selling groceries, somewhere along the line it says food or groceries. None of them names that you came up with tell me that we're a cable provider.
So that is where the tagline comes in. The tagline kind of grounds the name in that. And this is that second stage that we're going into after giving you feedback. So you have a very good point. You're absolutely right.
Although adding media to the end of a few of the names, that resonated for me. And so in fact, my favorite is Discover, and I love the green of that. And so I really liked Limelight because lime is the color green, so it kind of reflects that, the color choice there. But I would do it Limelight Media. I think adding media on the end kind of gives you that branding of like what it is. And so you didn't say that explicitly in that one, but Bob even mentioned it. And so that resonated for me.
So media, television, production.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Just something.
Media kind of grounds it as a
Media,
broad range.
yes, I like the use of the word media, so.
Okay.
Good to know.
I like that.
I do think that all of these names are a stretch away from the obvious, which is maybe why I kind of like them, but I like the ones that lean towards it a little more. So like Common Ground Media, I could see that making a lot of sense. And what I like about that one is, you know, if we're talking about our vision as being something in which we're helping provide information to all of the communities, we're trying to provide common ground to our residents. So that's how I felt like the name sort of fit. But I get it, like some of them, like Lemonade Stand, that was more of a stretch. Home Hub was more of a stretch. It didn't have the connection. Like,
I guess the one that kind of caught me, you know, that got me more or less thinking about what do you can attach to it or where you can go with it. And maybe it's because it had media on it. It was the Bloom Media.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that with Bloom, I mean, the other thing was sometimes with some of these, you know, you got to kind of think of, well, how many syllables do you really want somebody to have to say? Do you want something that's like a clear, maybe single syllable, or you know, if it gets too long, then you know they start to shorten it, or it becomes changed somehow. So, I mean, the one that kind of caught me most was just the Bloom Media and thinking about how things can bloom and expand and grow and be different, and it just popped into my head that had a lot of different things that you could really develop from it without being too focused and specific.
As long as Bloom is spelled without B-L-U-H-M. I don't want,
I think she means the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm thinking too, something in the name that kind of signifies where we are. You know, you just put media, you know, if you have media there, well, you know, or Metro Media, well, where is it? North Metro, Duluth, Rochester? You know, I mean, you should define the location as simply as you can.
And
You know,
one of the things you can do with that is like, because I played around with this before, and everybody will groan because of what I came up with before. But you know, one of the taglines, you know, is put that the Media Commission of South Washington County, or something like that. But that ties it into a location if we want to narrow that down. Now, again, depending on what our intention is, if we want to be seen as more than just South Washington County or the East Metro or something like that, then we want to be careful how narrowly we narrow that down, right?
Yeah.
I know if you look at some of the current stations that have recently rebranded, a lot of them don't use specific location.
Yeah.
You know, the closest would be, what was, 9 North was the, what were they, the southeast or north?
Are you talking about North Metro?
North Metro.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
North
so they're
Metro.
now-
But what is North? Is North Bemidji?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, whatever, CTV, whatever Pat's old organization was.
9.
Yeah.
Quad Cities?
Yeah, so they're, like I said, they're 9 North, so they still have a direction in there, but most of them, like, the Northern Dakota County Cable Commission is now Town Square TV. You know, so they don't have Northern Dakota County in there, because their name was just as long as ours. So, actually a little longer, I think. So,
I mean,
so
are
that's
you-
just something,
I mean, even if you had, you know, just real simple,
Yeah.
you know, Southeast Metro Media, but then on your logo, have how many communities we got, somehow or another, show them in your logo.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe. I might have a different perspective on that, which is I'm not sure the brand or the logo has to have our locations specifically incorporated, because I feel like a simpler logo will have better brand equity in the long run. I think on our website or something, maybe there's like a cool visual that's not just like a map, but there's something else we could create to help bring that there. And then, of course, if we're creating, like with one of these local approaches, a better sense of place, it might come through in the branding. Like, we don't have to, if we do a good job branding and communicating ourselves, we don't have to explicitly say where we're from, but that's just my opinion.
you know, if you go back to where you started from, what you're trying to do is get rid of trying to pronounce, you know, South, you know, SWCTC and
Right,
have it
it's a
named
lot.
this long. I mean, you're trying, you know, you go back to square one, you wanted to simplify it, make it easy, and just tell people who we are.
Just focus on the community. So,
Yeah.
I think if that's something that you guys want to prioritize, we can bring back iterations that kind of have some wordplay on location, if that's something that you guys want to prioritize, but I think that that's up to you guys.
I think when people look at something, they kind of want to know, is this our area, or is this 20 miles north of here, or is this Hastings? What is it?
Well, maybe just do one to just see what it looks like.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
And it's really not just South Washington County. Woodbury's kind of toward the middle, you know what I mean? It's, you know, south is from here down to Denmark to the Mississippi River, you know, it's kind of,
There's parts of the
that's
South
the problem.
Washington County not included in this.
yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, so maybe that goes back to somehow you get inclusive what we deal with. You know, which communities are in there. Denmark Township isn't part of this, right? No, so I mean,
But then they're not part of any commission at this point, right? Are they? I think so.
Don't believe so.
Okay, sweet. So maybe we come back with one direction that can show that. We can also come back with some updated visuals that also show that. You guys can let us know what you guys want to land on. Yeah,
I just think a name should signify what you're doing.
absolutely.
You know, you put
Absolutely.
lemonade, you put Lemonade Cable Commission, well, you know, what are you talking about, you know?
Yeah, we hear you.
And I will just reiterate that I feel like there is a beauty in it being somewhat subliminal and being somewhat of a stretch. And I think that Common Ground Media, Bloom Media, even, and Limelight, Evergreen, I think those do kind of get there, and I can see how Lemonade Stand is too much of a stretch.
Well, thank you, guys. We'll leave it to you guys for, you know, additional feedback and comments, but if you have anything else.
So how do you like all our positive feedback?
I love so used to it. Like, we are so used to it.
Any feedback is good feedback.
Anything, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
More
no
concerning
feedback-
when there's
no
like
feedback is
quiet.
Not good, yeah.
So also to get into next steps, so we will be revising our presentation. You know, if we do need to come back, SWCTC team will let us know. But from there, it's kind of just an ebb and flow of what works for you guys. We're going to be going into, you know, another round. So this is round 2. This is essentially round 1 right here. If we need to go into a third round, so be it. But then from there, we'll kind of be moving into our third touch point and where we want to start to get the community's feedback on some of these names, see what they're resonating with the most. We got a lot of people's information to which we're going to reach out via email. We're going to do some, you know, media and social media stuff to get people's attention. But just so that you guys know, there is that aspect to it. And we do want to know overall what people are resonating with. But from there, it's just kind of a push and pull until we get something that's complete and final. So,
Well, let's help them out a little bit. What do you think your communities really want in it? Especially the 2 larger communities.
Wanting a name?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking for just what she said. What do the communities want in it?
yeah, so that's going to be
Any ideas?
done through our community engagement too.
Not SWCTC, because that doesn't work very well.
Right, right.
And you had mentioned you're actually going to poll the community
Yeah.
and
Yes.
discuss
Yeah, yeah.
with them, yes.
Yeah, so we
So
normally
I
do
think we'll find
100
that
at a
information
time.
out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, we can talk to see how we can like get in touch with you guys to see a plan to get the word out.
so can I just clarify then what our next steps will be? We're gonna provide feedback to Bob.
Yep.
Bob's gonna take all that together. Are you gonna come back to us and then we'll talk about it again as a group? Or how are we gonna move this to the next step?
Good question. It's something we have to think about.
I think Bob
I
will
think
send out
that-
an email with probably the PowerPoint here to the commission members, and then, you know, request feedback if you want to give some more. And then we'll talk to Mango Day about next steps and when we can re-engage the commission.
Awesome.
Good.
Sweet.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your
So nice to
time.
meet you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, Next thing on the agenda, 2023 end-of-year financials. Executive Director Ann.
2023 end-of-year financials. So we went over this at our executive committee meeting. Nothing's really changed. I'll just hit the high points here. Our Q4 revenue from Comcast was down 10.5% in Q4 of 2023 from 2022. Total revenue, franchise revenue from 2023 was actually down 5.8% from 2022. We did bring in a little over $41,000 in additional outside revenue. Per our reserve policy, we have to take 6 months of operating budget plus 3 years average, a 3-year average of cable-related capital expenditures. And after we do all the math, we have left over $237,898. The executive committee is recommending approval to move $237,898 to the relocation reserve fund for our move to Central Park.
Great. We discussed this quite a bit in the executive committee. I think most of us were here. Any discussion?
Nope, I think we pretty much agreed to
Yep.
do what they wanted to do.
So
So looking,
I don't have it in front of me, but I will attempt, thank you. I will move that we, that we move $237,898 from our reserve fund to the relocation reserve fund.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Any discussion? Next item. Scope of services. Lonnie.
This was a document we created. We talked about the executive committee as well. Commissioner Date asked for a change in a word, so we tried to update that document with that change. Other than that, this is basically a guidance or an item to help us and help the cities decide on what type of projects we can do and cannot do. And some of those that we were trying to remove ourselves from are the ice arenas. Those are large-scale audio projects that we're really not, that's not really not in our scope of services. Computers, surveillance, those kind of things are listed in the document. It's just, it's a guidance for all the cities to see, and we can work with. It's not here to tell you what to do with your money. That's not what it's for. It's just what services we can provide as a commission.
Great. Are we looking for approving that or just a
You-
guideline?
I don't think you have to approve it, do they? Or do they have to approve it? Yeah, I guess according to the attorney, we have to approve that.
I guess we're looking for a motion to approve the scope of services guideline as outlined by Lonnie and in our packets here. Any,
I will move to accept and approve the scope of services guideline as laid out for all of us.
I'll second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion? And we move on. Thanks, Lonnie.
I just got one comment.
Yep.
Basically, your scope of services should pretty much just include, shouldn't it, their public meetings, the stuff that, you know what I mean, that they have to make visual or whatever, your city council meetings, your official meetings, right?
Yeah, we've tried,
versus a
we've always
basketball
tried
game.
to, we've always tried to provide the cities technology for meeting areas
Yeah.
and where the public is invited to meet as well. And that's the main thing we do. And the city council meetings where we hold our meetings and those kind of things. There's some other technologies that we also help with, with like touch panels and those kind of things, video conferencing, those kind of things.
Okay.
But yeah, we try to go where the communities can access that technology as well, yep.
Thanks. Move on to Central Park Architectural and Engineering Services. Ann, this you?
Yes, it is. So as you know, we have hired Kraus Anderson to complete pre-construction work for our future office relocation to Woodbury Central Park. Since our executive committee meeting, we met with Kraus Anderson and finalized the RFP for architectural and engineering services. That RFP was sent out on May 10th. We've already handled questions, and the proposals are due on May 30th. We'll conduct interviews the first week in June, if necessary. And according to the timeline, we'd like to award that contract in June. To do that, we really would need permission from the full commission to give approval to the executive committee to approve the selection and hiring of an architectural and engineering services. And that, according to the RFP, could be, they're estimating around $68,000. We're hoping that still comes in lower. We have had some questions back from the architects saying, can we eliminate some of these steps in your proposal to be a little more friendly to the SWCTC budget? Which of course we said, yes, please provide that option. So we are hoping that we have that. One thing that, we kind of want to know when the numbers are coming in, right? We're not going to know solid numbers on the move until we get this design done. And KA said that we should have pretty strong construction estimates in November in this timeline. So, but as I said, we do need the executive committee, or the full commission to approve the executive committee to approve services.
Now, the executive committee is now July.
Oh, you're right.
We moved it, right?
We did.
We haven't officially.
We haven't officially moved it, yeah, so, but it is July.
But also, allow staff to make that decision if you felt comfortable with us selecting from the three. Or we could bring in the relocation committee.
I think I would like to be a part of that. So I feel like the executive committee would be a
Appropriate
good
for
place
this.
for it.
Yeah,
I
does it
would
have to be June?
compromise on other things to be able to do that.
I don't think it has to be June. That was just the timeline to make the rest of the things work. But I think even July 11th, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
So I think we'll probably be okay there.
Okay. Okay.
What do we
Chair,
do?
you have options. You could schedule an executive committee in June, but you could also schedule a full commission meeting in June as well. So it's whatever the group wants.
Could we move the July full meeting to June? Then we have one meeting in June, one meeting in July.
We were going to do 2 in July.
Yeah, that's. Well, if the whole commission was comfortable with the executive committee making the decision, I'd be fine with us leaving our meeting schedule the way it is and pushing our other topic to July, just to keep this moving. And the reason I'm interested in keeping this moving is I know it's only 2 weeks. I just don't want to delay it I don't want that to push something else because of inflation or something like that. And maybe 2 weeks doesn't matter. I don't know.
So you're thinking just do it on July 11th?
I don't
Or
know. I
keep
think I
the
just
June?
kind of talked myself in and out of something. So.
Yeah.
So, I'm fine with either date, so, let me make the decision.
I mean, I think,
So I'll make a motion to have the executive committee approve or review and approve the RFP at the July 11th meeting?
Chair, I think what you're trying to say is the full commission is giving full authority to the executive committee to make a decision on behalf of the full commission.
That's exactly what I'm saying,
Yes.
yes.
That's what I thought.
but not date specific.
Yes.
And I second it.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any further discussion? Okay, we will move on to the next thing, which will be new business. Looks like we got Harrington Langer Associates, our 2023 audit engagement. We need to, we need to approve using them again for our audit in is it September, October?
It is scheduled for June 11th.
Oh, okay,
And they would present to the commission in September.
in September, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we engage Harrington Langer and Associates for our audit for 2023.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Discussion. Next thing up, LMC liability coverage waiver form. This is the form that nobody quite sure why we even do it, but we pass it every year. And so I guess I'm looking for a motion to sign the liability coverage waiver form again.
And Chair, you're not waiving the
Oh,
statutory.
yeah, not waiving the statutory rates, yes, excuse me.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
How's in favor?
Do,
Aye.
it's fine. No, it's too late.
Okay. All those opposed? Pass it. Discussion. You good?
I just thought that it would be a good idea, since you had noted we don't actually know what we're voting for, to have Mike Bradley give us 2-sentence summary of what it is
Could you do
that
that?
this document is doing.
Yes, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair and members. What you just passed was, was a decision not to waive your statutory liability for insurance purposes. So you are insured by the Minnesota League of Minnesota Insurance Trust, and you have absolute statutory liability limits. And I don't know of many cities or any cities that waive those limits, but they do ask you every year if you want to. And I don't think I've represented a group that ever has. So.
Okay, great. Thanks. Moving on, commission comments and requests. Anyone?
I had one question maybe for Bob. Are we going to see the results of the surveys and the questionnaires and everything that they did, Mango Day did? You can.
Make Lonnie mad. So, yeah, I guess I could share them with you. So yeah, we could share them, the whole thing.
Yeah,
So-
just curious to hear what
Because they
people
made
are
a nice
saying and-
PowerPoint that had everything in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we could share that.
Yep, awesome, thank you.
Can I just say thank you to Bob for leading the rebranding effort, because he's been doing a really fantastic job there.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bob.
it's a big job. Anyone else?
So we're not meeting on the 27th? For some reason, I had that in here.
Nope.
Oh, oh,
Because we're
good.
meeting on
July
July 11th
11th.
instead.
Okay.
You could take June off. Well, no, stop. We need to
have to-
first move the meeting,
We do.
so,
We have to officially,
yep.
Good.
So need a motion to move the June 27th meeting to July 11th, Executive Committee meeting.
I make that motion?
I'll second it.
Those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Any other comments? Looking for an adjournment.
motion to adjourn?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.